Welcome back, everybody. This is the third fourth place match in the Team Liquid Legacy Star League, and we are watching Skzlime versus eOnzErG, with eOnzErG currently up 1-0 in this best of 5 series.
Yep, looking good after game one. eOnzErG very, very commanding in that match, not giving Skzlime any edgeways. And game two, I believe, is going to be on Electric Circuit, is it?
That is indeed correct.
Yep, Electric Circuit. So let's see if we can get any crazy units bugging out behind in the mineral-only base. This map, of course, has one of those funky, pathfindingly confusing mineral-only bases in the back with destroyable temples to lead up onto high ground. So it's going to be interesting to see how the players utilize that. And I'd really say that's the main interesting strategical point of this map. Of course, the other main strategical point being that there is no ramp into the main, so of course we can see all kinds of funky shenanigans going on with that.
Yeah, could make 9-pool that much more effective, although I do think you can make a link-type wall with a depot and a barracks, so maybe not. But yeah, basically for anyone who didn't watch the quarterfinal match between eOnzErG and Nemu, actually, the random player, Nemu picked Terran for that series, and on this map he bunker rushed eOnzErG. eOnzErG tried to drone drill to his opponent's natural gas. Because of the spawn locations, his drones went around the back of the base and got stuck in the back of his own base and didn't drill the correct direction.
That was ridiculous.
And somehow he miraculously still held off the bunker rush.
It worked anyway, didn't it?
But he did lose the game eventually, so so that was just crazy. And yes, I do hope something like that happens, Elegant. It's so amusing.
Yeah, it's just fascinating to see. I mean, because of course when you're in the heat of the moment and you're playing, you tell something to happen, then you go away and do other things whilst expecting that to happen. And so it can be a while before you realise, where is my stuff? Why isn't it at the front? And then you have to look around for a while, and then you kind of face palm.
It's the worst thing when you find it, though. You find, like, the two control groups of workers that are just not doing anything. You're like, oh my god, I would have won the game, but they were just idle.
Yeah.
And it can really shake you up mentally.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to defend a bunker rush. Especially.
Indeed,
I mean,
indeed.
Yeah, it just gets horrible. But yeah.
No promises of a bunker rush in this game. You never know what Skzlime's going to do. But I would like to find out. Are you ready, Elliot?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Alright, here we go. Game number 2. Skzlime versus eOnzErG. Alright, welcome to game number 2. At the top right, as the yellow Terran, we have SAS Skzlime, and at the bottom right, as the orange Zerg, we have IFU eOnzErG. Now, elegant.
Yep.
I have to say one thing at the start. These are the exact spawn locations from eOnzErG versus Nemu. If eOnzErG drills to his opponent's gas, let me just explain what happened here. If eOnzErG, so eOnzErG, you see, he's sending his Overlord to the top right, to his opponent. He's gonna park it right here outside his opponent's natural. And if he tries to drone drill to his opponent's gas, which is what he did against Nemu, his drones will actually go all the way up here around the back of his main and get stuck behind these neutral buildings. Because in Brood War, the pathing is stupid and it doesn't consider that neutral buildings actually block. So they'll just like run around like crazy back here, whereas the actual bunker rush will kill the natural here. So that's what happened in that game, and what eOnzErG will hopefully avoid if he gets bunker rushed again in this game.
Yeah, let's hope so. Well, I don't know. It's kind of always interesting that kind of thing happens, and you can kind of see you can imagine the player's reaction. I mean, even if you don't need a player cam to know exactly what they're doing at that point, you can just see the shocked expression on their face and they kind of lean towards the monitor in this "what am I doing" moment. And how did I not notice that earlier?
So all the curse words going through their mind.
Yeah, exactly. Just profanity. So it's always a good bit of not so clean, family-friendly fun. But yeah, no particular signs of anything cheesy or anything as of yet. Well, nothing aggressive even from eOnzErG. It looks like, in fact, we are going to have a 12 hatch from him right here. So the exact opposite of what we were thinking might happen.
You know,
meanwhile, sorry, go on.
I'm curious about Skzlime's build. He went for a 14 command center on this map against Michael. Taking actually the back minnow only with the 14 CC and then walling in, so Michael didn't actually know what his build was. which I thought was actually a very, very smart build, and Michael
Yeah.
completely misread it as like a one-fact expand, so I thought it was really, really
He
nice.
did, didn't he?
But
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if he's just decided, eOnzErG saw that game, he'll probably kind of figure out what I'm doing, or maybe he just only took that risk because he was playing against a player as strong as Michael. So he's like, okay, I have to do something crazy if I want to win this game. Whereas against eOnzErG, he's like, eOnzErG's good, but I don't necessarily have to take a huge risk in the beginning to win.
Well, no, I think that's definitely going to be a factor. Like we always say, if you know you're punching a little bit above your weight, then you've got to try and somehow skew the odds in your favour by relying on something maybe slightly other than your innate skill. Game, excuse me. So I think that could be partly what's going on here, and Skzlime's just more happy to go straight up against eOnzErG, not to try and risk any kind of skill advantage he might or might not have for the sake of some crazy chance of getting ahead. So yeah, just going to go very, very stable. It looks like, however, eOnzErG going to make up a very, very quick third in his mineral only. How do you really think this affects Zerg though? Because this is interesting, because of course Zerg typically going to go straight for the Mutalisk off 2 bases, and that extra hatchery really. That extra mineral-only hatchery, rather, really doesn't help that cause.
Yeah, well, I mean, normally they would be getting a third hatch anyway if they're playing standard as a macro hatchery, so they're just going to put it there just because they have it already. But I think you're absolutely right, and I think that's why, like, statistically in Pro League, this map favored Terran in this matchup, is because that mineral only actually helps Terran a lot more than it helps Zerg. As you were saying, the gas is much more important for the Zerg, whereas for the Terran going bio, it's really the minerals that they want. They almost always end up with excess gas in the mid and late game anyway, so they don't really care about that. So having that safe mineral only is much more helpful to them. We'll see if Skzlime can actually utilize that in this game. He has actually opened with just a standard 1 racks expand. No gas just yet, so going for the 2 racks follow up, not going to get any kind of crazy fast +1 or anything like that.
Yeah, but it is interesting looking at the expansion. I'm pretty sure it's a quite significant favourite towards Terran, so hopefully Skzlime is going to be able to make use of that. The SCV scouting the Zerg space does go down, and yeah, Skzlime is going to go for a relatively standard expand, throwing down a couple of extra barracks now. So yeah, looking like once again he just wants to go straight up against eOnzErG. Is that a fairly early engineering bay?
Yeah, it's before the academy, so it's kind of like he's gone for a fast +1, but he's kind of switched the order a little bit, so he gets his second barracks first. Maybe he's slightly scared now because, in the first game he kind of ended up in a situation with not enough barracks pumping Marines and just kind of fell over to be, whoa, how is this SCV getting in the main base? Why is the Zerglings not reacting? Oh my goodness. What was that? That's a bit of a blunder there by eOnzErG. He must have been looking at something else or macroing up or something. But allowing that SCV when there was the 6 Lings just on hold position there, they must have been in a hold position because I think the SCV walked into range there as well. So
very strange. But why would you put them on hold position? That doesn't even make sense. Put them on hold position. Very odd move right there from eOnzErG. So the SCV is going to get in. It's not going to see anything out of the ordinary, so no big deal. Nothing you wouldn't have expected to see anyway. Although, did he see the Hydra stand? There is a Hydra stand. Did he see it?
What? Where's the? Oh. I don't think he got down that far. I don't think he saw it. I think you're absolutely right. He did not see it, and this is definitely the timing for making lurkers. He started this roughly when his lair was halfway done, so you can see the lair pops, and just a couple seconds later, the hydrogen pops, so he should be able to start lurkers anytime now. As soon as he gets 200 minerals, yep, there is the lurker tech. And this is very interesting, because this is exactly what eOnzErG did against Nemu on this map. He went for 3-hatch lurker. He didn't go for Mutalisks. Now, I don't know if Skzlime will be preparing for that, whether he's actually prepared for this and watched those VODs and kind of studied his opponent's play on this map.
Yeah, this is actually interesting. I can't believe Skzlime didn't scout that. He somehow gets the SCV all the way into his opponent's main at this stage of the game with a whole bunch of Lings out and still doesn't get down there and scout that Hydra instead. That's either unfortunate or slightly lax from him. But eOnzErG gets away with it. It's also weird from eOnzErG it being in any way able to let a scout in, despite the fact that he's going for a slightly unorthodox build. You would have thought he'd be going absolutely kind of the extra mile in order to prevent any kind of scouting. So a little bit peculiar for both of these guys actually right there.
Yeah, definitely. Although, I mean, it's not like he's going for some kind of 2-hatch, lurker all-in. He has gone for 3-hatch, so even if it's scouted, it's obviously a disadvantage, but, he can definitely still kind of recover from that or still play it standardly. He doesn't necessarily need to have it unscouted like, you would for a hardcore cheese. But as you say, it was kind of a very, just basically mistakes from both players. Although to be fair to Skzlime, you know, it's not like he necessarily knew there was something down there that he had to check. I mean, the tech could very well have been in the middle only, in which case, even if the SCV went into the main, he wouldn't see it anyway. And yeah, we do see turrets being made in the main, in the back of the natural, so he definitely still thinks it's Muta, or at least he's preparing for Mutas. He did just scan now. I don't actually know where he scanned, but there isn't even a fake spire anywhere, so he must have seen something. Presumably he at least scanned the natural and saw the lurker eggs morphing, so he should know what's going on. Meanwhile, it looks like we already have a 4th hatchery going down here at the bottom left main. Now, note that, you know, because there's no ramps on this map, as you said earlier, it is much harder to defend these with just a couple of lurkers, but that's only an issue if you're going for 3-hatch Muta. If you're opening with lurkers anyway, you should have plenty of army to actually defend this 4th base. So perhaps that's one of the reasons why eOnzErG chooses to go for lurkers rather than mutas on this map.
Yeah, I think that's probably a major factor because, of course, there's lurkers you can just kind of stick them in the gap and they can do good things nonetheless. And we already have quite a few lurkers out for eOnzErG. We have 2 his natural, we have 3 over at the 4th base, so he's managed to get a fair few fairly quickly.
I'm fairly sure these are stop lurkers at the 3rd base. He's put them so far out. There's no reason to have them this far out. If you want to just use them normally, I mean, putting them back in the main is absolutely fine, but leaving them out there, I'm pretty sure he's waiting for the Terran army to just walk over them and just slaughter everything. Unfortunately for him, Skzlime's actually not doing that, mainly because he actually went for pretty fast tech here, going straight up to science vessels off just the 2 barracks. So even though he did get the 2 barracks kind of before the engineering bay, before everything else, he kind of stayed on them while getting all his other tech. So his army is actually relatively small if you look at this. The Marine count is not very high, so he actually can't afford to move out of his base just yet. He's got to wait for the tech to come up. You know, he's got to wait for a slightly bigger army before he can actually risk that. Because, you know, as I was saying in the last game, the Marine count needs to be decently high for it to actually be scary for the Zerg.
Yeah. I think this is actually a good decision from Skzlime. I think these times might work out fairly well for him because he might be able to catch eOnzErG at just that point where the early investment hasn't really carried through into the later stages and his later tech hasn't quite come in yet. Whereas Skzlime's invested with a slightly later stage in mind than what eOnzErG really put his earlier cash into. So Skzlime's build is going to kind of come to fruition at a stage where eOnzErG is kind of in the middle of his transition into the next phase of the game. So this could actually work out fairly well for Skzlime just because of the way different builds scale into the later stage of the game. So this could be fairly interesting for him. Looks like now he's ready to start pushing out, but I think he's going to be a little way yet before he can really do any serious damage to the Zerg.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the normal timing. You wait for your first science vessel to move out. Basically gives you safety against any kind of stop lurker shenanigans. So he's moving in now, but eOnzErG has so many lurkers. This is what happens when you don't go for the mutas first. You spend all your gas on the lurkers instead. Just have such a huge army, and he is setting up a big flanking force on the left side here. This could be very, very dangerous for Skzlime. I don't think he realizes the kind of danger he's in. I actually don't think he should be moving out this far now, because that army is going to crush his easily as long as eOnzErG even gets a halfway decent position. He's actually moving back now to kind of intercept the flanking force. He's actually going to get catch the lurkers a little bit out of position here. Skzlime's actually the one who's playing the positional game here very, very nicely.
Yeah, this is a little bit unusual because usually, of course, it's Zerg who picks the engagement at this stage, whereas Skzlime is looking like he's dictating the engagement, which is interesting, especially given that his force isn't that big. And these lurkers look like they're now going to dash in. The Zerg has decided he's had enough. He wants to be the one in charge, but those lurkers look a little bit far away. D-Matrix going down on that tank. Nice. Going to keep it alive for a little bit longer. Was that 2 siege tanks going down, but now we have 2 siege tanks and a small medic marine ball still remaining. Not losing too many.
We have a drop at the mineral only. Ella going to drop at the backside, killing all his motes. He might get the Evo chamber before the carapace finishes. It's going to be ridiculously close. I don't know if it's going to finish. It might finish. Oh, it finishes at the last second. Wow, sick timing right there. Wait, he doesn't have carapace though. Wait, there's no carapace. No, it didn't finish. He canceled it. I think he canceled it. He doesn't have +1 carapace. eOnzErG actually canceled it. He assumed it wouldn't finish in time, and he canceled the carapace, and now he's at the front. But the finals, they don't have consume, they don't have energy. Skzlime's running in to try and snipe them, but it looks like, oh man, gonna suicide a lot of units in that snipe attempt, and actually losing almost all of his marines now. The Lings are coming in, the Lurkers coming in from the back, the reinforcements gonna run smack into each other, but I think Skzlime is gonna lose the rest of his army right now. He's trying to run away. He's only got 1 tank and 2 marines to fend off these Zerglings, pulling back the rest of his reinforcements. The dropship going out once again, although it is empty this time. While this has been going on, he has got his mineral only, but he's got to do something. With Zerg tech is going up here. You know, eOnzErG's now he's been on his pre-gas for a while. Looks like he's getting ready to take his 4th base. eOnzErG, by the way, has a ton of money in the back. I don't know what's going on here, but his macro is suffering some problems here. 1,501k gas. That should not be happening for eOnzErG, although he is going to catch a few more of these reinforcements, or rather the remains of the main army, I should say.
Yeah. Is it just me, or does eOnzErG's money often seem to go quite high in these games?
Yeah,
it seems like his macro isn't all that it maybe should be. Hang on, hold that thought, because in the bottom left-hand corner we have a dropship going in. It is full, it's got some good stuff in it. There's the Nidus Canal with some lings popping up, but it might not be enough. The dropship cannon boards decides to move back the Marines. The Marines could have a decent position on these lings. Do they have the critical mass though? Will they be able to stop the ling onslaught? Meanwhile, we have Dark Swarm going down near the Terran's Natural, which where it starts to get nasty. There are lots of lurkers there, and he's going to suicide all these siege tanks. Oh my goodness, that's huge for Skzlime. He really needs those siege tanks, otherwise he doesn't stand a chance of defending this. His natural is looking incredibly soft right now at this stage.
Oh my god, the lings like left. Where are they going?
Oh,
they just like ran away from the drop, but no, looks like they're gonna clean this up pretty easily. Yeah, they are cracklings and the sunken builds up as well. So that drop's gonna get taken down, but at least distracted eOnzErG a little bit here. Although this is the main problem here. The swarm is outside of his natural. He really does not want this to happen. I don't know why he's got no vessels either. I mean, he went for a very fast Starpoint Science Facility off just the 2 barracks. He really should have more than just 1 vessel at this point. I don't know if the other one got scourged or something. I guess he made a dropship in the meantime as well. But you know, an extra vessel would certainly help with some irradiates. But it looks like we're gonna have the lurks moving in, and there's the Dark Swarm. Skzlime needs to pull back. He needs to not fight under the Dark Swarm. Oh man, he's gotta be so careful. He's gonna lose that siege tank as well. He's maybe gotta fill this bunker as well. There's finally a second vessel coming out. No irradiate from this first vessel either. He's got enough energy for it. Does he? He has irradiate, doesn't he? I can't find the science facility, but I assume he has it. He must have it.
Okay, I'm looking for the science facility. He's not researching anything, so he must already have a radio. But we've seen no evidence of that. Yeah, okay, we do see a radio go down now. Well, I heard one. Okay, yeah, there it is. It's on the defiler, which is coming in, but he's still got time to throw down another swarm. There is swarm all over the Terran's natural expansion right now. And this is seriously nasty. He's having to lift up his natural command center. This is a terrible position for Skzlime. He's having to pull all the way back into his main. All of his SCVs are going crazy, but he's got another medic marine group coming in. But he can't go out right yet. The swarm has to wear off. Is there another defiler on the way? There's no other defiler on the way as of yet, so he might have a little brief moment of respite in order to clear out his natural and get some siege tank presence again. But this has been seriously nasty. He's losing so much economy the longer this goes on. 2 dropships out now, though, means that he's going to have some decent aggressive ability. But having said that, he's going to have pretty much nothing with which to retrieve his natural or to defend. So he's got to be a little bit careful playing the balancing act.
He's going for a double drop instead. By the way, he's got 1 random science vessel out in the middle of the map, which is really weird. And, oh, the Scourger actually barely going to miss the 2 dropships. I thought he saw it. I don't know what happened there, but the dropship's going to come down here into the main base. What do we have in the main? We got 1 defiler coming out. Oh, some Scourge are coming in. Will they be able to intercept? He needs to drop right now. He needs to start unloading. Oh my god, 1 dropship goes down after only 2 Marines get out, but the other dropship that had all the medics is going to get out. He's going to kill most of the drones here. The drones are not even running away. They're just stacking all over the place here. There is the Dark Swarm. The Marines need to pull back. It looks like Skzlime's not paying attention, though. Skzlime is not paying attention to his drop. It's going to get taken down. He killed a good number of drones, but I think he definitely could have done more damage there.
Yeah, I think he absolutely could have. He just wasn't paying attention to it. I don't know where his attention was diverted. He wasn't doing anything particularly major in his natural expansion. It wasn't being of any difficulty. But it looks like, meanwhile, eOnzErG is going to try and bust through those back temples. Skzlime doesn't know this, so he should be able to deal with that. He does have an SCV hanging out over the top of the temple, so he should be able to see it. And he's pushing out with a pretty meager medic marine group. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's not great at this stage of the game. And I don't know really if that's going to be enough to do any serious aggression.
He found the science vessel that was outside of Zerg's natural. It's been sitting there the whole time. I'm amazed it didn't get scourged. Oh, I might get scourged now! Oh! After all that, it gets, it sits outside of Zerg's natural for a couple minutes, doesn't get scourged, and then when it finally rejoins with a medic marine force, it suddenly dies. That's some weird timing there. Anyway, looks like nice irradiate on that. The pilot does get the swarm down anyway, and I don't think there were enough marines there to break that in any case.
Yeah, but, no, not medics either. I mean, three medics for all those Marines. I mean, now it's a bit of a better mix, but since all the Marines died, but three medics really wouldn't have been enough before. Now we have Ultralisk popping out, though. This is where it starts.
Oh my god, he's transferring SCVs through lurkers! Oh, no. He's transferring them! Oh, the angle wasn't quite right, so they mostly survived, but Jesus, that was dangerous.
That was very... Did you see the kills on those lurkers as well? They were like 8 kills, 10 kills, 11 kills on all those lurkers.
I think most of them were Marines, thankfully.
Yeah. Well, sort of, but yeah, that's some serious damage those lurkers have done throughout the games, and that's just how effective that strategy has been for eOnzErG. I mean, it's really worked for him very, very nicely so far here, but he's not quite out of the woods yet. Going towards the bottom left-hand corner, we do have a handful of Marines and medics, but against Swarm and Ultras, I really wouldn't imagine this is going to do too much. Those Ultras do not have the +5 armor as of yet, but +3 going to be more than enough to see them good against this small number of Marines. There are reinforcements slowly coming from Skzlime, but he hasn't got much of a tank presence, really. Throwing down more barracks now that he's got the 12 o'clock expansion, but he's looking like he's going to lose that to a couple of groups of Lings, and some Ultras coming in there as well, just for good luck.
Yep, but it looks like a big group just waiting for the swarm to wear off so they can actually run down here to the bottom left here, and the irradiate taking its toll on the Ultras as well. There they go, the swarm about to wear off, but it looks like he's going to consume... He just ate an Ultralisk! Oh my god, eOnzErG just consumed the irradiated Ultralisk. That is not something you see every day, but he has forced a lift on this 12 o'clock command center. Going to be able to pick off some of these SCVs as well. There is a good number of reinforcements with 3 tanks there. They should be able to go over there and actually defend that base while the other force here pressures. But eOnzErG is going up to 6 bases here. Well, he's got his 6 bases. They are only 4 gas, so it's not as scary as a real 6 gas Zerg bases, but still very scary for Skzlime right now, who is of course behind on supplies at 118 supply against the 132 of eOnzErG. Normally Terran should be like 20 supply ahead at this point. Looks like a couple ultras actually running into the back here, getting a little bit lost because there's that blocking depot. But now the main Terran force moving into the Zerg natural.
There's no defiler.
Oh my goodness, there is no defiler.
There is no single defiler right here.
Oh my god, he's branking the front. He's branking the front. He's done the D-Matrix Marine, but it doesn't matter because there's no lurkers either. No lurkers, no defilers. There's a defiler. It's going to eat everything it gets irradiated. Can he snipe it down? He starts it down, but the swarm goes off anyway. A nice micro move there by eOnzErG, but it might not, or sorry, by Skzlime, but it might not matter. There's only a single ultra there. Emergency lings being made here. The one ultra just hold positioning, trying to buy time for more reinforcements to come out, but eOnzErG could be in a bit of trouble. It looks like, meanwhile, a couple of ultras have ran into the natural, run into the main rather, killed a bunch of stuff, and the Marines run through the Dark Swarm and start massacring the natural expansion here. They don't care about the Dark Swarm. They are now in an awesome position here in the corner. The ultras going down very quickly here. Skzlime doing absolutely tremendous damage in eOnzErG's natural. I don't know what eOnzErG's doing right now, but he could very well lose the game.
Oh, this is a deeply stressful situation for a Zerg player right now. Skzlime, focusing down the hatchery for a second there, he's able to just melt the oncoming Zerglings, and he's going to have to try and get his Marines out. Will he be able to snipe the hatchery? He does snipe the natural hatchery. This is doing so much damage. He might be able to get the Nidus Canal spell. The Nidus Canal goes down too in the natural for eOnzErG, so Skzlime, if Skzlime can re-establish that 12 o'clock base, he may actually still be in this. Let's have a look at the supply count. The supply count still hasn't seen much of a switch, and we see a science vessel go down there now as well in Skzlime's natural, but the supply count still behind for Skzlime, but doing amazing damage right there with his medic Marine group. But has he done enough? Does he need to be more cost effective than that at this point since he's so far behind?
Well, he's got 2,000 minerals, Elegant, in the bank.
Holy
he needs
what?
to spend his money. Even if he's not cost efficient, he's just got so much back, and he got a bunch of SCVs actually trapped among his barracks. Oh man, I hate it when this happens. Okay, it looks like they fixed themselves, but still. It looks like 4 ultras coming in here, but 4 ultras by themselves are actually not particularly good. You really want a bunch of lings with them. The ultras actually don't have that high of a DPS. They're mainly for tanking damage. That's why ultra ling is the composition, not just ultras. The lings actually are the ones that do most of the damage, while the ultras just kind of tank all the shots. It looks like he's going to come in here, kill a bunch of free SCVs at the 12 o'clock. The rest of the army is going to go down here, but once again, Skzlime losing this 4th base, and it looks like someone's going down here. A radiated ultralisk running around in his mineral. Only 2 radiated ultras in the back of the Terran. Man, I don't know what's going on here and why they're here. They're not even attacking. They're just randomly running around. Okay, finally starting to attack. While the main army clears out the 12 o'clock, these 2 ultras is going to town on the main base. I have no idea how they got in here. I guess they ran in through the back or something.
But why did they kill the SCVs on the way? That's just confusing. Anyway, in the 12 o'clock position, we do have GG! Feeling unable to compete, Skzlime GG's out with 2 random ultralists rampaging around his main.
What was that? Those ultras.
What are they doing there?
I loved how when they were radiated, they just wouldn't attack anything. I don't. Is that an AI thing where, like, if they're radiated, they just freak out or something? I don't think it is.
I think it is because they're being damaged, so they're just kind of running all over the place. They're running away, like units.
But there's something to attack though, so I thought you would still attack it even if you're being damaged. You only run randomly, like if you're not under attack, or sorry, if there's nothing that you can attack, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah. It's really weird. Anyway, it happened. It's Broodor. What can we say?
There's some inexplicable little thing that goes on deep in the game engine, I'm sure. But yeah, so eOnzErG going to take it 2-0 up. Skzlime looking a little bit out of ideas right here. eOnzErG just looking kind of like the superior player, I have to say. So let's see if Skzlime can bring it out in game 3, but eOnzErG is going to be riding the wave at the moment. Despite that kind of little late game hiccup whereby all those Marines got into his natural, slaughtered all his stuff, and generally made his life a misery.
Yeah, I think that game was actually very, very close. At least it was much closer than Skzlime's games against Michael. So I would say definitely has a shot here. Definitely has a shot still.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring you guys game number 3 after the break so we can see if he can make the comeback. Come on, Neo Terran fighting.
We'll be right back.